Hello, London. We are ready for your vote.
Hello, I'm Stephen Perkins, and this is Douze Points, the Eurovision podcast from the team behind Binge Watch. We're going to be doing something a little bit different this week. We have been reflecting on the future of this podcast, so this episode is going to be about what you can expect from, well, I guess what we're going to call the new season, before we get underway with our latest batch of features and deep dives, which are coming very soon. But first, there have been some more developments in the world of Eurovision, so let us take a quick look at the news. The biggest story of the last fortnight has of course been the latest developments over Joost Klein, after the alleged incident at this year's contest where it's claimed he made a threatening movement towards a camera person, which led to the Netherlands being disqualified from the grand final. It was announced that Swedish prosecutors have dropped the investigation against him due to a lack of evidence. Senior prosecutor Fredrik Jönsson stated, "I have closed the investigation because I cannot prove that the act was intended to cause serious harm." Dutch broadcaster Afrotros welcomed the decision, saying, "From the beginning, we said that this disqualification was unnecessary and disproportionate." Since that announcement, both the EBU and Joost Klein have responded to the developments. The EBU said, "This was an investigation into whether a criminal act was committed, and not whether Mr. Klein behaved inappropriately and breached ESC rules and procedures. This new development therefore does not have any impact on our decision, which we stand by completely." Commenting on Instagram, Joost Klein stated, "The last couple of months were terrible. Even though I love to perform anywhere around the world, something didn't feel right. Why did we have to wait so long for an answer? Every day I felt insecure whilst I knew the truth. There is no case against me because there never was a case." So, while the matter looks as though it has been resolved from a legal standpoint, the bad blood between the Netherlands and the EBU may take much longer to settle. As I understand it, Afrotros has sent the EBU a letter of objection, which has so far gone unanswered, and they won't confirm their participation in 2025 until they receive a satisfactory response. As things stand, the ball is in the EBU's court and the clock is ticking. It does seem as though the Netherlands are unlikely to return to the contest next year unless they get some kind of satisfactory response, suggesting that their concerns are being taken seriously. And as the deadline for registrations is mid-September, both sides will need to move quickly if they are to reach a mutually agreeable solution in time. So more news on that one as we get it. In other news, Swiss broadcaster SSR-SRG has confirmed the time and date for the 2025 host city announcement. The big reveal will take place this Friday, 30th of August at 10 a.m. Central European Time, which should be 9 a.m. in the UK. The decision is between Geneva and Basel, so this time next week we'll know where all the delegates will be heading in May 2025. And finally, Sweden's Melodifestivalen, the process that chooses their Eurovision entry, has announced some tweaks to its formatting for 2025. There will still be 5 heats and a second chance round, but where before the third and fourth place songs in each heat would advance to the second chance round, this time only the third place song will go through, meaning that there will be 5 songs taking part rather than 10. Moreover, the highest scoring third place song across all 5 heats will get an automatic pass to the final, leaving just 4 songs battling in the second chance round for that all-important 12th spot in the grand final. As we mentioned on the podcast in the previous episode, we are going to be making a few changes around the place here. Nothing too drastic, don't worry, but we've just had some time to reflect in the space since the last competition. And so what we thought we'd do was have a little bit of an update for you all and just explain how we're going to do that. And in order to get through this effectively, I've been joined once again by our very own producer, Liam. Liam, welcome back to the show.
Hello, I'm feeling like a regular now, but
I mean, you are very much a regular. You are here every week, even if you're not always on mic.
Yeah, you know, it's been a crazy year in Eurovision, hasn't it? And we've sort of taken a bit of time in our sort of usual downtime after Eurovision to just have a bit of a think and a chat about how Douze Points is going to shape up going forward, which I've been optimistically calling Douze Points 2.0 in the vain hope that will catch on.
But it's all branding.
Yeah. But, you know, we've been having those discussions, haven't we, Steve? And because you particularly, I feel like you're having a bit of an existential crisis after Eurovision.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think you know, there was a lot of, in light of everything that happened last year, I certainly didn't enjoy Eurovision in the way that I normally do and found it all quite stressful and, you know, to be honest, at times a little bit upsetting. And so we did, I think, during the break, spend a bit of time thinking, what does that mean for this podcast? Are we even keeping going? Do we have kind of the enthusiasm about Eurovision to keep going? If we do keep going, what does that look like? How are we going to approach our interest in the competition going forward, because I think what we both didn't want to do was for it to become me sitting here getting all blinkered and miserable about it, and then the whole podcast just becomes really unpleasant for everyone to listen to, and it's just 15 minutes of me moaning every fortnight. I mean, literally nobody is going to want to listen to that.
Yeah, and I think as well, on top of that, not only have things just changed a bit in Eurovision, but we've had a year of doing the podcast as well, and we've covered 2 Eurovisions in that time, and I think we've started to realise maybe what we're good at versus other people, and what we can give you, our listeners, in terms of value out of a Eurovision podcast. And because there's a lot out there, and there's some great podcasts out there. I'm not going to tell you to go to them because I'd rather you stay here. But there's some good pods out there, and we want to do something a bit different, and we want to be able to kind of give you the value that you deserve from giving us your time.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're under no illusions that this is a very crowded marketplace. There are a lot of people talking about Eurovision who bring very different things than we do, and we're trying to figure out what's going to make this podcast special, what's going to kind of justify our continued existence. I mean, obviously, we're thrilled that people are listening, because there's already more people listening than I ever thought would, which is lovely, and I'm very, very grateful to all of you. So yeah, I think we had to sort of sit and reflect on what else is out there, what everyone else is offering, and what we as a podcast can or should do slightly differently.
Yeah, and I think as you mentioned, Steve, part of that was us sort of taking stock of the fact that people don't just want to hear us two droning on all the time, and we want to try and make that insight and that discussion that we have around Eurovision as interesting for you as possible. So we'd love to get more people on the show. We'd love to invite some more voices on. And if any Eurovision fans or journalists or former participants or heck, anyone organising the show right now, yeah, if you're listening, this is kind of one of the ways that we really want to inject some sort of more life in the show. Is we're inviting you on right now. This is our sort of call to action, really, that this isn't just about us. Eurovision is a whole community of people, and we want to represent those voices and those opinions, because I think Eurovision now is becoming more than just about the music. I think the last season has shown that, and I think in order to cover that respectfully and appropriately, we have to think about getting a broader representation of people on the show with us to talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what's worked really well in the past is when we have had multiple voices on here, usually us two, and it's allowed us a bit more of a back and forth, so it isn't just me kind of constantly droning on about one particular subject from start to finish, and what I really enjoy about that is having someone else's opinions to bounce off of. I think gives me more of a chance to reflect on my own ones and to justify them a little bit more. So yeah, we're absolutely very much open for people. If you're listening, if you would like to come on the show and talk to us, if you have perhaps a particular subject matter that is of real interest to you and you'd like us to do a show about that, then absolutely let us know. We can talk about that. Or even if you just want to come on, have a bit of a chin wag, if you've just got some really strongly held opinions, that would also be good. We're not going to go to phone-in radio about this. We're not we're not just going to be courting controversy for the sake of it. But we are definitely interested in having some new voices on the pod on a semi-regular basis, I think.
Definitely, and for those who do already really enjoy what we're putting out there, I can reassure everyone that we're still really keen on making sure that we bring the sort of the insight and those longer feature pieces that Stephen is so awesome at doing. Because I'm going to big you up now because you won't big up yourself. Your Eurovision expertise is fairly unmatched. So we're still going to bring you those pieces and those longer kind of almost historiography or sort of documentary type sort of pieces that we do, sort of shining a light on the history of the contest. But we recognise as well that there are times when we maybe need to look at current events, and I think we had conversations, didn't we, when the Eurovision was in its midst back in May, about exactly how we have those conversations and if we should cover certain things, because we just didn't feel like our show in its present guise was kind of set up to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think there's always going to be areas where, it was very kind of you to say about my expertise, but I'm well aware of its limits. What I really don't want to be doing is, holding court on things where I'm not really qualified to talk about them. So, people who have got, the ability to fill in the gaps in my knowledge are always welcome on the show, and I'm sure there are a lot of you. I think that's the thing. We really, really want to cover subjects in as much detail with as much kind of information and get our facts right, basically. So that's kind of why we definitely want more voices on the show to be able to bring to the show the things that I personally cannot. And like Liam said, we will still be doing the long features. Hopefully those won't be going, because they're a key part of the show and what we do. So don't panic if you enjoy those. They are still going to be here. We're just looking at other things we can do to kind of provide a bit of variety in it and hopefully make the show better.
Absolutely, yeah. We're just thinking now about leveling up. We've been working hard for the last year to create a podcast that we're really proud of, and is getting more listeners than I think we expected, and that's awesome. But
yeah,
we want
it's more listeners than my husband and my mum. In fact, I don't even think my mum listens. So
which is a result, yeah. But we are now thinking, how can we really start delivering value for all of you listening, and that's where we're thinking about how to level that up. And so we want to be really open with all of you as to where we're taking the show, and in return we want you to be brutally honest with us. So my email as the producer is hello@podcastbyliam.com. Feel free to spam my inbox with suggestions and feedback and ideas, because we are so open to just hearing about what you want from the show.
Yeah, although please don't be too mean, because no, it's fine. Be honest, but just please remember I have feelings as well.
That's where I have my producer filter that kicks in. It's like put all the bad ones in a box and don't tell you.
Or just tell me all at once so I can prepare myself beforehand.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean that I think is what we're thinking for the show going forward, is that we want to kind of build upon what we've already got, but make the offering a bit stronger, and have some new opinions on the show other than just mine, because we really think that would improve what we're doing here and strengthen it. And it would just be lovely to have some people within the fandom come on and talk about the things that mean a lot to them. I think because that ultimately is what makes Eurovision what it is. And I think the show is ever changing. It's constantly evolving. Eurovision, I mean, as well as our show, and I think it's the best way we can hope to reflect that is by chatting to the people who make it what it is, who watch it, who engage with it, who follow all of the national selections, who speculate constantly about what's going to happen this year, the people who perhaps have looked at the competition in the last 12 months or so and perhaps reflected on what it should be and what it currently is. And so we're very, very keen to reflect that as much as we possibly can.
Absolutely. Eurovision is just one big happy community, and regardless of the controversies and the scandals and the drama that we've had the last year, I think there is still such a sense of community and unity amongst at least the Eurovision fans out there. So we really want to sort of represent that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we want to do is we don't want to lose what we love about Eurovision in the first place. This idea that it is supposed to be bringing us all together, and even when there are struggles in the community and when there are things that people are visibly unhappy about, we want to be able to talk about those things openly, but also kind of not lose sight of what brought us here in the first place. So there's so much we can cover, and as we've said, we just really think that having more people on the show is the best possible way of covering that properly.
Yes, and you were right earlier. We did, we were really close to thinking, is this actually worth continuing? But I think the best way to tackle some of that negativity and some of the craziness that happens is to try and be a beacon of optimism within that, and that's what we're going to try and do with Douze Points.
Yeah, exactly. I think you can pack up your bag and go home, or you can say, well, actually, I've been here for a long time. I don't want to be pushed out of this. I want to I want to be a voice in trying to shape the future. And that sounds incredibly egotistical, but you know what I mean. a single voice among many. But I want to try and stay here and be heard and get my point across, and and hopefully provide a little bit of a platform for other people who feel the same way.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Well, I think that pretty much sums it up. Would you agree with me, Liam?
Yes, absolutely. And I think, as we said, we're being totally open with all of you about what we're doing with Douze Points, and we invite the same in return. But don't be too mean.
Yeah. And in case you're wondering, normal service will be resumed in the next episode. Liam and I have been having lots of meetings. We've been doing loads of planning for the future. We've got some, I don't want to toot our own trumpet here, but I think we've got some really great ideas for things we want to be talking about in the next couple of months. So please do stay tuned because we're very excited about the things that we've got planned for the next few episodes. So I will sign off with the usual. Please do follow us on Twitter at bingewatch_pod, or you can follow me at Stephen Perkins. Please do remember to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and we will look forward to hearing from you, hopefully, in our inbox. And until next time, good night, Europe, and good morning, Australia.